Well, hi, folks. Welcome to Thursday's Tech Call. We're going to have a KT today with Christina. She's going to be discussing enabling supervisor real-time dashboards for agents. Before we just kick off with that, I just want to just quickly ask if anybody came here with a question they want to answer quickly, and we'll allow for questions at the end as well. But just if somebody had something pressing and then they had to go, just give them an opportunity to say something. If not, we'll get started with Christina. Sounds like that might be what we're doing. So go ahead, Christina, if you'd like to unmute and start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning to everyone. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to share my entire screen because I will be showing a presentation, and then of course we can go to the system in order to show a little bit more information. First than anything, well, once again, good morning. This is a really simple new feature that you're going to be finding on the AXP tenants. It's basically an option that is going to allow the users to be able to see themselves on the real-time reports. You know that, of course, usually, or we're all used to seeing the supervisor that is able to see other users' metrics. So in this case, there's this new feature that is going to allow some specific agents that that an administrator is going to be able to define, to see themselves and other users' metrics as well for real-time reports. In order to start, we're going to start talking about how that agent is going to be able to access to that information. And basically that is going to be done through roles. Okay, so in this case, you know that whenever you create an agent, the agent is just going to have the agent profile assigned, it's just going to have the agent role assigned. Now, what we will need to do in order to allow that agent to access other users' information is to assign one new role, okay, that it's reporting supervisor. Okay, that role, it's a role that we never assigned before, and that's a role that we'll need to assign from now on to any agent, okay, that we want to allow to see other users' information. So once we assign, sorry about that, I didn't pass the slide. Whenever we assign, okay, that role to the supervisor, we're going to allow them, that agent, to see, whenever we assign that role to the agent, we're going to allow that person, that user, to see other users' information. The user is not going to be able, the agent is not going to be able to see other agents unless we also add that agent, or we also include that agent as an owner, okay, of a new group that we will need to create. You know that the supervisors will need to own the group where the agents are going to be member of in order to be able to see those members' information, those users, those agents' information. And in this case, something similar is going to happen. First, we will need to create a new group that can be called, I don't know, reporting agents, something with a suffix, with a prefix that is going to identify that we are actually talking about agents that will have the ability to see other agents' information, to become reporting agents. So that group, it's a group that it's going to allow those agents to see, okay, specific users' information. Basically, you will need to make that agent owner, that reporting agent, that agent that you have provided the reporting supervisor role, the ownership of the group, okay, that you have defined, okay, to be part of the reporting agents. So basically, we will create a group that can be called reporting agents, where all the agents that we want to allow to see other users' information, okay, are going to be basically the owners of that group. And something different here, you know that a supervisor is going to be able to see any agent, okay, that it's a member of any group that the supervisor owns. In this case, in order for an agent to be able to see their own information, because they're also going to have the capability to see their own information or to see any other user's information, they will also need to be, or actually they will need to be the owners of that group. And that will allow them first to be able to see themselves. Okay, as you can see on these scenarios that I have here on this slide. Okay, a reporting agent will have the ability to see, okay, their own information by just being the owner, okay, of the reporting agent group. So the only thing that needs to do to see their own information is that. Then, in order to allow that agent to see other agents' information, okay, there's one scenario where you can have several reporting agents, and the only thing that they need to have, or they need to, they need to have is the ownership of the same group. So let's suppose that we only create one new group that it's called reporting agents. And through that group, we're going to define, okay, which agents are going to be able to see other users' information. So in order to allow them to see their own information, they will need to be the owners of that group. And if they share the ownership with other users, they're also going to be able to see those users' information, okay? So that's how we are going to be able to allow the users to see their information, okay? By making them owners of the group that we have defined, okay, for the reporting agents. There are two more things that I want to clarify, is that they're also going to be able to see regular agents information. I mean, agents that only have the agent role assigned, okay? They are not going to have the reporting supervisor role assigned. So in that case, we are going to be able to add those agents as members of the group. We are not going to need to make those agents, owner of any group, just be part of the reporting agents group that we created before, just like for the supervisor, okay? In that case, if we are talking about a regular agent, the same rule is going to apply. They will need to be members of the group, not owners. These are the three scenarios that you will commonly use, and the three scenarios that are actually explained on the article regarding this topic. But there's also one more scenario that is going to appear on the examples that I'm going to show later, that it's going to allow also, okay, to add reporting agents as members only of a reporting agents group. And that will allow the users, those reporting agents, to be visible by the owners of that group, but it's not going to allow those agents to see, okay, other agents. I'm going to show that on the tenant, and it's going to be more simple, okay, for all of us to follow, of course. But basically, what is going on, what it's going to happen is that if you create a reporting agents group, that group will allow you, or will allow you to define which users are going to be able to see other users' information, other agents' information, after, of course, you have provided to those agents the supervisor role. In this case, you know that an agent is not going to be owner and member of the same group, so that will define some limitations, okay? If I am the owner of that group, I'm going to be able to see any other agent that shares the ownership with me or any member of that group, okay? And if I am a member of that group, I'm not going to be able to see any other member or any owner of that group. So the three scenarios that you're going to be able to see are going to include the supervisor, because here we're not going to be making changes regarding the supervisor role and the supervisor visibility. The supervisor will always own, okay, all the agents in the system, or specific agents on specific groups. But that's not going to change. That's something that we're not going to change, okay? So by default, all the agents that we're going to talk about today are going to be part of the regular agents group, the group that the supervisor will own. So that's not part of this option. That's not something that we're going to change. Then we're going to have some different scenarios that are going to show us how the users are going to be able to see their own information, other users' information, and regular agents' information. So the first scenario that you can see here and that we're going to see on the tenant is just going to show you that you will have a supervisor that is going to be owner of the regular agents group, that in this example, it's called Sales Team 100. Okay, and you will have three agents. They are going to be members of that Sales Team 100, which is which the supervisor owns. And then we're also going to be able to see that these three agents are going to have the reporting supervisor role. Okay, so we'll have the ability, these three agents are going to have the ability to see other agents' information. And how I'm going to allow these users to see other users' information? By creating groups, okay, where these users are going to be the owners. So in this case, I'm going to create one group, okay, for the sales user 101, okay? And give me 1 second. Sure. Are there any impacts on load? 300 reporting supervisor. Is there any impact on licenses and entitlement? I will need to look for that. Sure. If you allow me, I'm going to look for that and I'm going to send an email for all of you, if that's okay. I stopped sharing. Thank you, Jar. I stopped just sharing my screen. Sorry about that. So, I was telling you that in this case, these agents, sorry, I use the user word a lot. These agents are going to be agents that will have the supervisor, the reporting supervisor role assigned. So they're going to be able to see other users' information. On this first example, I'm just going to show them how they are going to be able to see their own information, not other users, just their own information. And in order to do that, they just need to own a group. A group, of course, that you will create by using a prefix or a suffix that is going to identify those groups. For example, the RA suffix that it's going to allow you to understand is going to show you that we're talking about specific groups that are going to correspond to the reporting agents. Okay, so basically, the only thing that you need to add is the only thing that you need to do actually is create a group and make that reporting agent owner of that group to allow the agent to see their own information. And that's something that you can see here. Here, in this example, 3 reporting agent groups have been created. Each one of the reporting agents, it's the owner of these 3 groups. And on real-time reporting, you can see that the supervisor that we said that we're not going to change that. So all the users, all the agents are going to be members of the group that the supervisor owns. We're going to be able to see that the users, the reporting agents, are just going to be able to see themselves, okay? Because you can see that the groups that they will see are the ones, okay, that they own. And that's it. So if they own a group that it's not going to be shared with anyone else, it's not going to have members, an empty group basically, That's how they're going to be able to see their own information. If we're not going to leave that group empty, we're going to share the ownership with other users, for example, that is going to allow the users to see, okay, each other's information. So if I create just one reporting agents group and I make all the reporting agents owners of that group, they will have the ability to see not just their own information, but the rest of the owner's information. So that's how a share ownership is going to work. It's going to allow the users to see all their information, their own information and the rest of the reporting agent's information. And the third scenario, it's when you have, okay, different kind of ownerships. Of course, the supervisor is always going to have one group, okay, where all the agents are going to be members. And then
I think we lost your audio there, Christina. We can't hear you at the moment. Maybe.
I think the whole connection maybe.
I think the connection may have died. Yeah, I'm sure she'll try to come in again.
can you hear me? Sorry
Oh
about
yes.
that.
Hello, you're back.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
This is going to happen whenever you don't need this to happen. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know, where did you lose me? I hope that you don't need to hear me a lot more. I was just telling you about the different scenarios where the users are going to be able to see their own information, where you can create also a group that they share the group ownership in order for reporting agents to not just be able to see their own information, but the rest of the members' information. And the third example, and I believe that you lost me there, it's an example that is going to allow the users to see different kind of information because the ownership it's going to be a little bit different. Once again, the supervisor is going to own this regular agent group where all the agents are going to be members. So the supervisor will have visibility of all the agents on the tenant, or at least all the agents that are part of that group. And in this case, all my reporting agents are going to be part of that group. So the supervisor will have visibility of all those agents. That, once again, is not going to change. Then I have created, or a group has been created, okay, for reporting agents with the suffix that is going to identify that group for you on the tenant, that it's going to show you that the reporting agent number 1, it's going to be that group's owner. And then I'm going to create a reporting agent number 2 that it's going to be the owner of a different group. And as we were talking before, I know that as long as the reporting agent has at least one group ownership, that will allow the user, the agent, to see their own information. So reporting agent 1 and reporting agent 2 will have the ability to see their own information. And I have created a reporting agent number 3 that it's not going to own any group. So that basically means that the user is not going to be able to see not even their own information, because the only condition that you will need to follow is to make that user owner of at least one group that you have created in order to allow the user to see their own information. So that's the ownership. But there's also a part where these users, these agents, are going to be members of other groups. For example, the agent number 1 is going to be member of the regular agents group. So the supervisor will have visibility over that agent's information. And the rest of the users are also going to be members of that group, as I told you before. So the supervisor is going to be able to see the 3 users' information. But Something else that you can see here is that the reporting agent 2 and the reporting agent 3 are members of the reporting agents group, okay, that it's owned by the reporting agent number 1. So this is going to allow the reporting agent number 1 to see the reporting agent 2 and 3 information. These two users, reporting agent 2 and 3, okay, will have limited visibility because they're only going to be able, the number 2 is only going to be able to see their own information because it owns a unique group, okay, that no one else is part of. And the agent 3 is not going to be able to see anything because he doesn't own any group. But the agent number 1, since he owns a group where the rest of the users are also members, like you can see on the box here below, will have the ability to see their own information and the other two users' information. So any reporting agent will have the ability to see other agents or other reporting agents' information, okay, if they are members of the group that the reporting agent owns, okay? So that's one more option. If I want to have one reporting agent that will have the ability to see other users' information, okay? But I just want to have a couple more users that are only going to be able to see their own information and not other users. I'm going to allow agent number 1 to own a group where the rest of the users are going to be members. And then I will need to create specific groups for each one of the reporting agents, okay, in order to allow them to see their own information. We're going to show that in just 2 more minutes. The last thing that I wanted to show you here is that there are limitations whenever you access, and that's something that you see, you know, whenever you access real-time reports, you know that, well, agent data is going to be filtered based on the group configuration. Basically, if an agent is a member of a group, it's an owner of a group, okay, that will limit it. That will limit the visibility for those users for the reporting agent's view. You know that queues are not going to be filtered, for example. That's why you're going to be able to find several times support sales on real-time reports. And one really important thing, it's that the users doesn't supposed to see the CDR information, contact detail report information. This is something that it's enabled, okay? So right now, the users, the reporting agents, are going to have the capability to create views, create dashboards that are going to be private, okay? They're not going to be able to create share dashboards, only private. Create views, create dashboards, clone dashboards, for example, in order to see new information. And they're also going to be able to create a CDR view, a contact detail report view. And that's something that they shouldn't be doing, but there's something that at least right now, okay, it's available. So if the agent knows how to do it, they will have the ability to do it. So the supervisor will need to recommend the agent not to do that. Or basically right now, that's something that is going to be available. And one last thing that I wanted to point out is that something that it's recommended besides explaining the user that they should not be creating CDR reports is that, as I was telling you, on the reporting agents groups, you can use a suffix like RA, for example, to identify those groups. It's recommended for you to use a prefix that includes agent or reporting agent on the new dashboards that you will be creating for the agents or the agents will be creating for themselves. Okay, so I don't know if you have any questions before we move on to the tenant. It's going to be more simple for you to follow me there if I wasn't clear enough. So any questions before we move on? Okay. Can you hear me right?
Yes, we
Just
can hear you
checking.
fine. Yep, yep. Please.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to move on to the lab. And in this case, the first thing that I did is basically create a group that I call Agents RA. That it's basically the reporting agents group that I decided to create. And that's the group that I will need to share with the reporting agents, basically. Okay, so that's the group that I will need to add on the agent's information, okay, to make them owners or members of those groups. And if I go to users, on users, I have these 3 agents, okay, that are going to have different permissions. Or first, I'm going to select this reporting agent in order to access this reporting agent information. And the first thing that I will need to do just to allow the user to have the capability to see other users' information is just adding to the user the reporting supervisor role. Whenever you do that, the user should be able to see other users' information. And something that you can see here is that the agents group, okay, the group that usually is owned by the user, doesn't change, is there, okay? The agent is still a member of that group. But what I wanted to do right now is just allow this user to be owner of the reporting agents group in order to be able to allow, okay, this user to see any other user, okay, that has the same ownership, to see any other user's information that has the same ownership, or at least to see their own information. So once I added the reporting supervisor role to this user, and once I make this user owner of a specific group, that is going to allow the user to see their own information. So I'm going to save this. And that's how this user is going to be able to see their information or other users' information. Here on my agent number 2, I have already allowed this user, I have already provided this user the reporting supervisor role, but I haven't allowed this user to own any other group. So what you can do here actually is just allow this user to see their own information or just add this user as a member. That is going to depend on what do you want this user to be able to see. Probably if you add this to this user, the reporting supervisor role, you will want this user to see other users' information. So you will select the group depending on the kind of information that you want to allow this user to see. Agents RA, for example, is going to allow the user not just to see their own information, but also the agent number 1 information, because the agent number 1, it's also a reporting agent that owns this group, okay? So if I allow this user to be an owner of this group, this should allow the user number 1 and the user number 2 to see not just their own information, but the other agent's information. Okay, it should be working differently, but at least now I'm able to see this is an agent, this is the agent number 2, at least this user, this, the agent number 1, is also should be able to see their own information. I don't know why that's not working. Sorry about that. It worked yesterday. And all the times that we have tested this, but here you should be able to find since I make the agent 2 and agent 1 owners of the same group, the reporting agents or this agent two should be able to see both users' information, their own information and the agent one. In this case, you can see that this user is able to see the agent one information, should be able to see both. Let's go into check the agent number one in order to see if something has changed for this agent. No, not yet. Perhaps because I didn't end. Okay. Just give me 1 second if I end and if I start. Oh, but it's not supposed to work that way. I need to sign out the user, not the admin. Sorry about that. Now you can see real-time reporting. And once I access real-time reporting, remember that both users are going to have the ownership of the same group. So that should allow the users to see themselves and the other user information, but that's something that perhaps is not working correctly with the user number two, because the user number one, it's only able to see their own information. Sorry, really sorry about that, guys. It works. We already tested and it works, but it seems like today doesn't want to work. One last try. No, it's only showing the agent number one, so something probably should happen. Well, the last thing that I wanted to show, and I'm going to send you prints about this because this is actually working. Probably if you test it, it's going to work because we have been testing this since Monday. The last thing that I wanted to show you in this case is that what is going to happen with CDR information that I told you that the users, the agents or reporting agents shouldn't be able to create those kind of interactions, but they have the ability to do it. And that information is not filtered. So something that is really important for you to know is that through these different ownerships, I was able to allow the users to see other users' information. But contact detail report, it's not going to need that. Any agent on the system that makes a call, that receives an incoming call, it's going to appear on the contact detail report. If I go to the users, just to show you what I'm talking about, on users here, if I find one agent, I'm just going to remove the agent number one membership. I'm just going to allow to make this reporting agent just member of the regular users group. So it doesn't supposed to be able to see any other users information because it's just part of the users group. And as I told you before, in order to see other users information, that agent needs to be needs to own a specific group. Here you can see that the user, it's not able to see anything else because it's not an owner of any group anymore. And if I go to view, for example, And if I create a view, let's suppose that I create. So sorry. Sorry. I'm going to select CDR here. I'm going to select a couple of measures. ACW, agent last name, answer time stop. I don't know, a couple of measures. I'm going to save this. And now what we have seen is that this user, it's not allowed to see any other user's information because it doesn't own any other group. Okay, so it's not going to be able to see nothing basically. But if any user receives an incoming call, okay, whenever this user has access to the supervisor reporting role, reporting supervisor role, this will allow the user to see any interaction, okay, on real time. Here. It's going to allow the user to see any interaction on real time, even if it doesn't supposed to be able to see. Yeah, there's a problem with my agent. That's why we weren't able to see that, probably, that agent information. Well, it works that way. So if I'm able to, if I answer that call that I'm receiving, I should be able, and I'm not going to be able to go to dashboard, but I'm going to here. You can see that now CDR is showing information. Not the CDR. Wow. God. Here. I don't know why it doesn't allow me.
You need to delete what you have there.
It was everything on the second, in the agent number 2. And I'm trying to do this and I got lost now. So trust me on this one, and I'm sorry about it. Basically, you should be able to see other users' information on the CDR reports, even when you're not allowed to see other users' information because you don't own any group. Okay, so that's something that it's going to be a little bit awkward actually, because if you allow if you provide the reporting supervisor role to the user, you're going to be allow the user to see that kind of information, even when it doesn't own any other group. Okay, and the agent doesn't supposed to see that information. And since that information is not going to be filtered, it's going to have access to any other users information through that kind of reports. Guys, I hope that you were able to understand something. Sorry if I wasn't clear enough. Thank you for your time, and I don't know if you have any questions.
Well, here's a question from Koos. Is there any technical reason why someone cannot be both owner and member of a group?
It just doesn't allow you. The system doesn't allow you If you try to, it shouldn't allow you to be a member of an owner. When you are owners, you're going to be able to allow the users to see information on both sides. If we share the ownership, you can see my information, I can see your information. If I'm just a member, that's how you're going to limit the user's visibility. Perhaps there are 3 users. Okay, the first user will have the ability to see their information and the other 2. And that's something that you want to do because perhaps that agent is going to be like a supervisor backup on the contact center. And then you just want to allow the rest of the users to be able to see their own information, okay, but not other users' information. So I'm going to create groups to allow the users to be the owners of those groups. In order to see their own information, you will need to create 1 group per user. And then you will have like the reporting agents group where the first agent is going to be the owner, like the supervisor backup, to allow that user to see all the users that share the ownership of that group or there are members. So I can make a member the rest of the users. So they're going to be visible by someone else, but they're not going to be able to see anyone else's information, any other person information.
Okay, I think I got it.
Sorry if I wasn't clear enough. But I will send the PowerPoint with new prints that I'm going to take in order for make this easier to understand. And sorry about all the things that went wrong. Everything worked yesterday, like it happens, like the Wi-Fi connection and the rest. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, guys. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christina. So it seems like this sort of boils down to 3 steps, that the agents in a group are added to role reporting supervisor. That's kind of step 1. And step 2 would be you make 1 or more visibility groups for the reporting. And then number 3 would be then you make the agents own the visibility group to become a member of that group. And so that's kind of the basics boiled down to the essence, maybe. So, okay. Very good. Any other questions or any new topics that people just wanted to thought of to bring up? They wanted to post to the group before we close out. So that might be it then. Well, thanks for coming, folks. We'll see you on Tuesday, and there'll be another KT next week as well. So these will keep coming. Thanks a lot, Christina. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.